Friday. Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Knits. I'm your host, Rachel, and this is a YouTube channel that I love to talk about my current works in progress, whether it's knitting, crochet, and most recently, spinning. And so if that is something that you are interested in, please stay tuned and like and subscribe as well. So let's just dive in so I don't do too much rambling, because if you are a returning viewer, you know I will ramble. So a couple of things that have happened. Number one, I have fallen in love with a project that I cannot stop obsessing about, and that is the Yorkshire project. Now, this is a crochet blanket that was a crochet along in 2024. Knitting Natty was talking about it on her podcast, and I was like, oh, let me check this out, because she kept going on and on about how helpful it was and inspiring to her crochet journey. And I am someone who had been crocheting since I was 12 years old. I really love it. And had it not been for crochet, I probably would not have dabbled into knitting, which I now have gone full on knitter mode. So, anywho, I went on to the website and saw some great reviews about the project. I saw some beautiful outcomes of the blanket, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and purchase it. As I mentioned in my last video, I went to Joann's and I purchased a variety of different yarn that I've been thinking about casting on for a hot minute, and decided just to go ahead and purchase and move forward with it. And I'm so glad I did. So I have how many squares? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 squares completed and I will need a total of 24. So here are my 6 squares. Now, there are so many things I want to say about why I love this project so much. Number one, the way that is written now is 4 PDFs. The first PDFs, or the first 2 PDFs, I should say, it provides you information about the crochet along, understanding about the abbreviations and the terminology used both in the UK and the US, and just different expectations that you should consider depending on the type of yarn you're using. Once you get through the overview, you go right into the heart of the pattern. And so the way that she structured the pattern, she has one for fingering weight, and obviously one for DK light worsted. So I'm using the DK light worsted version of it, and I decided to use both the 4mm hook and a 4.5mm hook, which I think is, well, I don't really know because I don't stick to those little things. And the thing, let me see if this will have that on there, because I know some of y'all like those US terms, and that is not me. Let's see if I can give you some US terms. Here we go. Let me look at my little thingamajiggy here. Oh, my eyes. Okay, here we go. So for US terms, a 4 millimeter hook is actually a US 6, and a 4.5mm hook is a US 7. So those are the 2 hooks I'm using for this project in hopes, Gemini, in hopes to be successful with this project. And so far, so good. So this is my very first square. There were some mistakes. I know I've been crocheting since I was 12, but I too make mistakes. So there were some mistakes. But then I got it together. And yes, this square is bigger than my purple one, but this was the first one. And I realized that using the 4.5mm is definitely a good idea. However, I may want to consider doing one more final round in order for it to line up, because as you can see, if I go up one more needle size, it may work, it may not. I don't know. I really like the purple, so I kind of want to keep using it. So we'll see what ends up happening there. So that is my Yorkshire blanket project. I have, as I said before, 6 squares completed. I'm using Lion Brand's Basic Stitch anti-micro yarn, and it comes with 186 yards. So not that much yardage with this, and I got this clearance for $2.92 when I was at Joann's. So again, not that much yardage, but I'm noticing for every 2 squares, I'm using 1 ball of yarn, and I have about 1, 2, 3, 4 of the gray, and I have 1 left for the hazelwood. I'm looking over here with my yarn, and I have 2 in dusty rose and half of a skein for a pure white. So I think I will have enough in order to finish the project. Besides, I have worsted weight yarn all around this room. I will definitely make this work. But I'm enjoying the outcome of this so far. I think I have a clear plan about the yarn I'm going to use to join it together. I would like to do at least 2 more, if not 3, purple squares. So because I plan on using the purple to join all the yarn together. So I'm so thrilled with this particular project, and I'm so glad I decided to purchase it. It has definitely fulfilled my desire to crochet because I love crocheting. It's my favorite thing to do on Sunday afternoons when you've completed everything you've done for the day and you wanted to sit back and relax. I don't know why, but crochet is definitely my go-to there. Sorry, the sun is starting to set, so the lighting in here is going to shift a little bit. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible so you can still see my beautiful face. So in addition to working on a Yorkshire blanket, I'm also making some great progress on my Illuminate. I have successfully completed the body of the sweater. And so as you can see here, it is. It is done. I tried it on. It actually fits, surprisingly. I know I was surprised too because it looks a little small. But then I put it on and I was like, you fit. I can't believe it. But yes, it is fitting. I have developed a system for my stripes. It's not the cleanest system that I'm using. I'll show you here. As you can see a little bit of variation, but not a really bad one. Like it's not like so blatant, like, oh gosh, what were you doing? So it's working. I decided to use a jogless stripe where you pick up the bottom stitch on your left needle, and then you bring it up and then you knit into it. I love this particular method. I find that I don't have any gaps between the 2 yarns when I move in that particular direction. And I'm doing the exact same thing for the sleeves. For my sleeves, I'm not sticking to the pattern exactly. I picked up an additional 8 stitches in order to make sure the circumference of my bicep is there. I don't want it to be too fitted, but I didn't want it to be too loose. So the sleeve is fitting perfectly, and I'm now at the point when I'm ready to decrease. I need to do some math about the frequency I want to do the decreasing because I want it to, I don't want it to be rapid. I want it to be a slight decrease as you go along. And in the pattern, she tells you how to do decreases per certain inch. And I don't really like that because it's hard to maintain consistency with that, at least for me. I can't speak for everyone else, but I struggle a little bit. So with that said, I'm going to work on it and we'll see what the outcome is for that one. So that particular project is happening. The other projects, not much to tell about it except for one. Or 2. Okay, there's 2 sock projects. I don't usually do this. Usually with my sock projects, I keep it at 1 because I am still fairly new to sock knitting. It is not one of my strongest skill set, but I want to get better at it. So again, I went to Joann's and I was able to purchase some Patton's Croy sock yarn. I, again, been thinking about buying the yarn, never went forward with the purchase because Joann's is closing, I decided to do so. So I took my black yarn and decided that I was going to make the fleece sock using the Focolana because of this beautiful project bag. I saw this bag and I was like, oh my God, I really like the colors together. Maybe I'll make a socks with that. Now my Focolana is not the exact color of the project bag, but there's some strong similarities between the two. It is in what inspired me to do this. So I'm happy with my choice. I'm enjoying working with the Focolana Arletta yarn. It is an 80% superwash and a 20% nylon. And you get how much? 210 millimeters for every 50 grams. I'm enjoying it. It is definitely a good go-to sock yarn, and I'm so happy that I made that purchase. It's not something I will always gravitate towards, but it's definitely one that I will continue to maintain in my collection. And this is what I've done so far. I went rogue. I was supposed to cast on for the fleece sock, decided for whatever reason I didn't want to do that. Instead, I did a 64 cast on with a 2x1 ribbing. Then I did, it looks about 4 rounds of straight stockinette. Then I decided to do 2 rounds of black, then 2 rounds of the Focolana, then 2 rounds of where I was doing Focolana black. Then I did 2 rounds of Focolana, and I made this beautiful little mini colorwork pattern. So it was a really nice attempt to do sock color work because I'm using a 9-inch circumference needle, and I'm really glad and proud of myself. So the next step is to continue on. As you can see, I did my heel, and now I'm working on the foot. And I have this sweater pattern that's called Barbie's Black Okay, I'll say it again. Barbie's Bad Day. And it has this beautiful motif at the top. Then it has the FUCK word in the middle. And then underneath the FUCK word, it has another motif. It is gorgeous. So I decided that instead of wearing a sweater that states the word, which I'm comfortable wearing, but when I make my sweaters, I like to wear it in multiple places, including work. And I already know I'm not going to be able to get away with wearing FUCK to work. So because I don't want to offend anyone, and nor do I want to get in trouble at my job, I decided that maybe I'll make a pair of socks with it, because we all have those days where it's just like, so I'm making this into a pair of socks. I am almost at the point where I'm ready to start the word, and I decided that I'm going to just work on this project at home, as it is a color work chart and it will require some concentration, and I want to do it well. So that's where I'm at with my socks. They're with the first pair of socks. They're coming along. I'm making one at a time. Just want to take my time with it so I can do it well. But I'm really excited about this project, and I hope that I can repeat the magic with the second sock. So that's my first sock project. My second sock project was selected by a random moment I was having. As I mentioned too many times, I co-authored a textbook for AP African American Studies. The book is called Freedom on My Mind, with an African American, let me start over. The textbook is called Freedom on My Mind, an African American History with Documents. And with this particular AP edition of the textbook, we decided to do a launch party. And we also decided to host an expo to celebrate AP African American Studies and the textbook at the African Meeting House last week, actually. And for whatever reason, I was feeling, not for whatever reason, I know, I was feeling anxious. I was feeling overwhelmed, because in addition to this event that I've been contributing and planning for, I have my general job responsibilities as a teacher. And I'm teaching AP US Government and Politics in a time where there's been some conflict with the implementation of the Constitution with our understanding of the Constitution. And as someone who studied political scientists and who is a lover of how things are done, I get frustrated by some of the things that are happening in the news, because it's hard to help my students stay inspired, and it's also hard to help my students stay engage with the proper understanding of the Constitution, with recognizing that everyone is entitled to interpret the Constitution as they want. So with all that said, it was a lot of mental energy that I've been putting forth in teaching this course. When I was teaching USAP before, USAP Government and Politics before, it was overwhelming during the Trump administration, as well as the Biden administrations too, because of what was happening with COVID. And so this time around, I knew it was going to be a lot, and I've been preparing for that, because almost on a daily basis, I have to change my lessons and make sure I provide additional context, and also make sure I bring in multiple perspectives, because I have to recognize the fact that I'm not teaching a homogeneous ideology group of students. These kids have multiple ideas about how the world should function, how the American government system should also implement its policies, and how they should contribute to a global society. So because the viewpoints are so diverse, I want to make sure that I am successful at not offending anyone, but also using truth and fact with my students, but recognizing that everyone has a different interpretation of fact and bringing that into the classroom. That is a lot of planning and studying and scholarship that I have to engage in. That is so much mental energy that I am engaging in, that sometimes I am up at 2 o'clock in the morning just to revise a lesson plan. So I've been feeling a little stressed. And in addition to that, my kids have been up and down with colds and other viruses. And I'm just like, for the love of goodness sake, I just need a woosah. And then I need to support my husband, because he has transitioned into a new job and he has his own anxiety about that. So I want to be a supportive wife. And then it's just a lot. So the last week I was feeling like I was about to have an anxiety attack, because so much was happening in one day. And I'm like, how in the world am I going to successfully do all this and maintain this sense of, when I'm talking about the book, and making sure that I am saying all the right things and I'm not misspeaking, because I had so many presentations I had to do that night and the next day. So I went to a yarn store called Gather Here, which is located in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's a beautiful, it's not just a yarn store, it has yarn and fabric and other crafting materials that you can use in order to really develop your skill set. And I went in with a specific purpose. I wanted to buy a skein of yarn that was Hedgehog Fibers. I just find that the yarns are so colorful and vibrant and just inviting for creativity. And that particular yarn store or craft store has that yarn in selection, but I've noticed of lately that they've had a low quantity of it, and I was hoping that I would find the right one. It took some time, but I was able to find it. So this is a skein of yarn I caked up while I was there, actually, and I fell in love. I'm like, this is the one. I saw it like laying there. I was like, oh my God, this is it. So I got this skein of yarn. It's a fingering weight yarn. The name of it escapes me, but I will definitely have it in a description. I misplaced the label, and it was in my car because that's where I ended up casting on. So after I purchased the yarn, I went ahead, got in my car after I caked it up, because you can cake it up while you're there, or they will do it for you. And so I went ahead and cast on the cuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really like this. What is a pattern that I can use in order to keep going with this? Because I don't want to do like a vanilla shorty sock. I wanted to do something that really highlighted the yarn and also celebrated texture in a sock. Because I do like texture socks, and it's not something I make often. So I went on to my Ravelry library, and I was able to come across, oh, sorry, one of my friends is texting. I was able to come across, everyone is texting right now. I was able to come across this pattern called, here we go, Petty Harbour. I'm going to leave it on the screen. I'm going to take it off in 3, 2, 1. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. The author's name is Rayna Curtis. It's called Petty Harbour. It calls for 2.5 millimeter needles, fingering weight, or you can use DPNs. The gauge is about 32 stitches per 4 inches or 48 rows. And she has different sizes for small, medium, large. And it's a simple pattern. You do 12 rounds for the cuff, and then you do about, it looks like you do 15 times for the leg before transitioning into the heel. I decided not to do a heel flap and gusset because I don't like those. And I just like to do what I like. So I did my shadow wrap heel. I actually rewatched the tutorial associated with the shadow wrap heel in order to make sure I was doing it right. And I am. So made that. I tried it on yesterday and it fits lovely. So I'm very excited about that. And now I'm at the point of the pattern where I'm doing the texture pattern in the heel. So the heel and the bottom of the foot is in stockinette, and then the texture pattern is there. And I made a mistake of just doing like 2 rounds of stockinette, and then I was like, oh crap, I got to do the texture pattern. So I had to stop myself. And I absolutely love it. It's colorful, it's unique, it's out of my comfort zone. And I'm really glad that I found this yarn, because this is something that calmed my anxiety that night, because I sat in my car for almost an hour before I had to go to the lunch party. And I felt at ease once I went there and was able to cast on and find exactly what I need. So I tell you, yarn can definitely be your go-to woosah, because I feel so much better about it. I felt much better once I was able to get this on my needles and move forward with it. So really happy with that acquisition. And so those are all of my whips, as well as one of my acquisitions. I already told you about my drop spindle acquisition that I got. But one thing I didn't mention is that I finished the first half of my Stella cushion. So this is the Stella cushion by Lauren Penrose. Here, I'm going to hold this up. This is what I've done so far. So I have the first half of it finished, and I'm waiting for this, what is it? This sewing kit I purchased from Temu, so that way I can make a insert to go with it, because there was a brief time when I was making crochet pillows all the time, and I even have the stuffing for it. And I decided that I want to do the same thing with that one as well. So before I finish the backing, I'm waiting for the sewing kit to come in, so that way I can sew together an insert, attach it to make sure that it fits properly, and then do the back side. That's my goal for my sew. So that is on pause for that. And while I was waiting for that to arrive, what came in the mail was such a wonderful surprise. I went on to Sorella. I purchase her yarn more often than I care to admit, but don't use it. Not because I don't love it. It's because I just like to use the right pattern for it because her yarn is gorgeous. I love it. And the most recent yarn I purchased was this little collection of, you know how she sells little sets, and so she had this little set. I'm gonna try to find all of the yarns that came in the set because I was playing around with it so much that I mixed some of them together. It was my bad situation. There's one more. Where are you? Oh, you're gonna hide. There you are. So in the mail I got these 5 colors and I thought they were beautiful, and I decided I'm going to make another stellar cushion motif. So the pattern calls for 2 versions of the pattern. So you can do one with a solid color, but you can also do one that's multicolor. So I'm going to do this one with the multicolor, and the yarn I'm going to use as a contrasting, I don't have enough to do another cream version. So I bought this yarn from Temu. They were having one of their weird sales, and so I purchased this like teal green yarn. I think would be perfect as my contrasting main color for that. And I have, as you can see, I have plenty of it to do a full cushion, both the front side and the back side, and probably another one. So I'm going to use that and get to going on that most likely on Sundays. Sundays are the days I like to work on the cushion before transitioning into my crochet. So I'm going to do that this Sunday. Another purchase I recently made that came in the mail this week was that came into this little box. As I mentioned in my last video, I am really into spinning. I want to learn it. I want to have a better understanding of it. And my hope is that I can actually make a garment or some type of accessory using my hand spun. So I decided to start with drop spindles so that way I can get a better understanding of its functionality and hopes to transition into e-spinning. I don't think I can get a full-on wheel because of this room is a little small and it would be ideal, but we'll see. So with that said, the wool, I should say, came in this package, and then when you open it up, let me do this. When you open it up, this is what it came in. I was like, oh my gosh, this is better than what I thought. The the Etsy store I purchased it from is listed here. And this is the name of the owner. I'm going to always put this in the subscription as well. And she was selling this, and it was like around $30. I think it was on sale. And it comes with a support, 1 spindle, 2 spindles. And so the colors I picked were inspired by the movie Wicked. And so I did this beautiful purple braid. As you know, I love my purple. That's why I have this faded purple on my nails. I love purple, and this is my purple. Like, this is, when I think purple, this is the color I think. And man alive, if one day, if I can make something like this into like a sweater or a garment, look how great purple will look against my skin. I need this in my life, y'all. I really do. But anywho, I'm really am excited about learning how to do this particular craft. I'm sorry for the crinkling. I have a class scheduled this month where I'm going to go and hopefully learn how to do some drop spindling. It's a 4-hour class, and the way it's advertised, you should be able to learn how to do this by the end of the 4 hours. So I'm going to bring this and my other drop spindles with me and just keep practicing the technique. I would like to do some more practice with my drop spindles on my own, but I just haven't found the time to do so. So those are all my acquisitions in terms of yarn. That was I shared with me my current works in progress, my semi-finished objects with the cushion and the squares. And I have a couple other things I would like to share with you all before we say good night and enjoy our Friday night and the rest of our weekend. So number 1, I love books. I love reading and I love writing. I'm just that person. Goodness gracious, I'm so popular today. All the phone calls, text messages, what's going on? But anywho, I love reading and writing, and obviously knitting and crocheting too. So I listened to this one YouTube channel where this woman celebrates various Black authors Her name is Kayla, I believe, or yeah, I think her name is Kayla, but she talks a great deal about different books, and I can honestly say she's been spot on in her reviews. And because some of the other books that she has suggested to read, I read them. I was like, girl, you were right. This was a good book. And one of her suggestions that turned me onto her channel, and the reason why I am a subscriber and I keep coming back, was Black Cake. Black Cake was this story I've read. Now it's been 2 years, I believe, that I read. No, maybe it's been less than that. But anywho, Black Cake is a hella great story. So great that now it's a Netflix, not Netflix, I think it's Hulu, a Hulu series. Highly recommended in terms of the book in itself. The Hulu series, I really couldn't get into. The woman that they have playing the main character's daughter, she just, I don't know, something about her just annoys me. But anywho, love the story. So after watching her review about it and I got turned on to it, I was like, well, what else do you got? And so most recently she was talking about these two other books, and I was like, well, I'm going to check this out. So one of the books that she suggested hasn't come in yet, but this one did. So she was talking about this book called The Queen's Spade, and it's a youth a YA book, and I like to read these in order to see if there's a recommendation I can give my students, to see if it's something that might be of their interest. And this looks really good. I love the cover in itself. So even if I end up hating the story, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And there have been stories that I purchased, didn't really like the story in itself, and ended up bringing the book to my classroom, and one of my students fell in love with it. So that's all that matters. Another book that wasn't recommended by her channel, but I saw this book on the website I decided to use. So one of my classmates from high school moved to Louisiana and opened his own bookstore called Baldwin Books. And it's a bookstore that's dedicated to obviously the writer James Baldwin. And not only does he have all the publications by James Baldwin in that where people can purchase and read, but he also includes, like, you know, your big hits that are out there that everyone's reading, like Onyx Storm, for example, or just, you know, just really big contemporary books out there. So he has such a variety of books, and I want to go back and continue to celebrate his success, and also, you know, give my my funds to Black-owned stores. So I was really excited that I was able to do that. So while I was on his website looking for another book I was purchasing for my class called The Black Man's Guide to the Constitution, I decided to go ahead and purchase this book in addition to that. This is called The Bookshop Sisterhood. I love the cover. I didn't actually read through what the book was about. I just saw the cover. I was like, oh my gosh, this looks really interesting. And it has really positive reviews by different, you know, news sites that I found interesting. And I read the first page and I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to buy it. And it was available on my Kindle for free, but I decided that I wanted to give some love to another female Black author. So I'm really excited about sitting down and reading those two books. So those are my final two acquisitions to share with you. I am going to be making a new sweater. The next time we come together, I will be telling you about this. My little cousin, he is turning 21. And I love this boy since the day I met him, when he was born into this world. And his mother passed away 6 years ago now. And his mother was like a sister to me. And I just want to be there for him and his sister and show them how much they mean to me, and just channel all the love that I know that my cousin had for them into them. So I'm going to make him a sweater. I reached out to him. I was like, I know your birthday's coming up. I'm like, can I make you a hat, a pair of socks? And he was like, actually, can you make me a sweater like Trinity? Because I made his sister a sweater. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. So he put the hoodie. So I went online to look at different variations of hoodies, and I found one by Tua Wands. It's a hoodie I made 2 times already, and so I'm excited to make it a 3rd time. Hopefully this time it will come out much better than the first version I did. The second one came out pretty good, but the first one, not so much. It was not good at all. So this one should come out really well. Not only am I using the suggested yarn for the pattern, but I also was able to get him to identify what color he wanted instead of me picking the color. So I ordered the yarn from Lion Brand. It's woolies. He'll be able to wash it and dry it and get all the things on it. So it's like the perfect yarn to use for that particular type of garment. So I'm excited to be casting it on. I just got an email from Lion Brand 2 days ago that is shipped. So my hope is that it will be here this weekend so that way I can cast on by Monday. And my goal is to get it done by his birthday, which is March 25th. But I'm a fast knitter. I'm not that fast. So he already gave him a heads up like, listen, I'm going to try to have this done for you by your birthday, boo. But it may be the first week of April or second week of April when you finally get it in the mail. So my hope is that I will get it to him before he ships out. He has enlisted in the U.S. Army. And so he is going to the second round of his training in about 4 weeks now. So I want to make sure I get that out to him before he leaves. And so, yeah, that would be my future cast on. Otherwise, I'm going to keep working on everything you see or have seen in this particular video. I'm glad I kept it short and sweet. I was afraid I was going to do another hour-long video, but I kept y'all under 30 minutes. And so thank you so much for tuning in and hearing about my current works in progress, as well as my acquisitions. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks where I will be telling you more about my progress on some my progress on some projects, as well as hopefully my future cast on for the Two of Wands hoodie sweater. Thank you so much. I hope you like and subscribe this video, and I see you in 2 weeks. Bye for now.